In a world where two friends decided to watch movies from their youth, then decided to start a podcast about it, we present to you the Movie Test of Time. A podcast about the only medium that matters, the movies. Presenting your hosts, America's sweetheart, Beth Martin, and Irish ruffian, Andy Young. Hello, that's us, your jingoistic and reluctant hosts, this week looking at the thin red line. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
Well, Andy, today's a very special day.
Okay.
Because we're us and we don't do anything the normal way.
No.
We have relaunched our podcast that we've been doing for I don't know, like since like January. It's April now. I recognize that. So I wanted to say happy first day of our podcast and happy 29th episode.
This is thank you. And a happy 29th episode to all of you at home who celebrate. It's a differentiation between us gradually easing into the new format to officially making this change. So it's fine. We're doing some good work here.
I agree. Yeah.
The relief for me is not having to do the descriptive words twice in the intro now, because immediately I looked at jingoistic and I thought if I do that twice it's gonna trip me up in the second one.
Agreed. And I'm
nice.
I need to Google that to know what he's talking about.
Yeah. It's so yeah. Do you know hawkish?
No, I mean probably.
It's kind of in that sort of realm as well.
Okay.
Just kind of some people who are like, yay, war, it's amazing, it's great for our country,
Okay.
It's kind of jingoistic.
So like my whole town that I live in?
Yeah. I like most of your country.
I feel like the tide is shifting here a little bit.
That's true. Maybe like 25% or so.
Well, it was funny that we had the No Kings, another No Kings protest. Thank you all for coming out. But there was one I saw there was one in Dublin, and I was like, oh yeah. And then I noticed there was one in London, and I was like, well, that's interesting. And I wasn't like, I was like, are they helping us, or are they like protesting your king?
I mean, probably a little bit of both, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people aren't crazy about, but I would say that they're definitely, it's kind of funny. I have other American friends who are like, why do people care about Donald? Like, why do you care about American politics? And it's like, for better or for worse, American politics affects everyone, especially the UK. We're so closely tied.
Yeah.
So unfortunately it is, something a lot of people do pay attention to.
It's like I feel like the UK and the US have to be in bed together.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
and
for a long time.
Probably in more ways than it's actually true.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's gross.
Okay, so I was me in documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up watching this documentary. I don't remember what it's called, but it's based on the book called It's like the best title of a book ever. It's called Bowling Alone. Bowling Alone: The Collapse and Revival of the American Community. And so it's this dude. His name is Robert D. Putnam, and basically he piggybacked off of this other sociologist who coined the term social capital. So when you go out in public, you're social capital. When you show up and vote, that's social capital. When you show up at a
yes.
You as a human, you have social capital.
Yeah.
We all do. And basically the problem is no one is using their social capital anymore. They're just staying at home. They're not, it's like in America, everybody was in a bowling league, 50 years ago. And so, everybody was, in the Kiwanis or the Independent Order of Odd Fellows or the Freemasons or, other groups that didn't include women. So,
yeah.
But I know what it's called. This is a good title too. So the title of the documentary, it's on Netflix right now, and it's called Join or Die, and it's like totally reshaped, because that's essentially what he's saying, is that like nothing, that's our problem now, is that we're not sitting in a room together, all of us having different thoughts and ideas. Like, we're so siloed. We think that fighting on Facebook is the way to win people over, and it's absolutely not. I think many things about that, but
I see it here too as well, for sure. I mean, it's one of the driving things behind the choir and stuff.
Exactly. I thought of you, and I was like, Andy is aware of social capital, even if he doesn't know what that word means yet. But here you are. I'm telling you, you have lots of social capital, and you spend it.
Yeah.
Like, I know you can talk about your weekend, but it's just like, I wish that I had more of that, and it's like I'm going to start doing more stuff in my community, basically.
I think it's important. And I've always been somebody who's really liked to actually, do things like, I did like singing lessons. I also did lessons on poetry writing and things like that.
Improv class.
Improv class, exactly. And like
composting.
Composting. And I absolutely see the value in it. Like, and I think that I absolutely recognize the concept of social capital, though I think I'm kind of, reluctantly, because it brings me maybe attention that I don't particularly want, So it's a mixed bag, but like I understand the need for it, both for myself and in others, and I think it's important. I agree completely that it's something that really seems to be, we're losing it, if it hasn't been lost already.
Right. And Mike was like, well, he's like, no one shows up to stuff anymore because people are so terrible. And I was like, well, which came first, right? Were people terrible before, or are they more terrible now because we're not, engaging with each other?
I think one of the big problems with sort of modern, media and things like that is that it is advantageous if you're trying to send a certain message to keep people divided, because then they can't talk about these things and go, oh, actually, that's bollocks, that's nonsense, this sort of like opinion that I have been given is nonsense. And I think that's a big problem, a very scary problem, so like I think so much of it is driving us to like sit at home, looking at our phones or whatever and not interacting, and then like, you can put ideas in people's head, that like this group is wrong for this reason, and if they don't interact with those people, then that might as well be truth to them.
Anyways, that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, this is not a political podcast, everybody.
I know. What's the crack with you?
So what have I done recently? I've been talking about park runs recently. I did park run volunteering not so long ago.
Social capital.
For the first time. Exactly. And they took my photo appeared on Facebook, and my mum was like going, my friend said they saw you on Facebook, and I'm like, why?
So
and I'm
cute.
like, oh yeah, from
That's so cute.
From park run.
My friend said she saw your face on Facebook. What you doing, son? I'm sorry, everyone.
Hate that this is just losing all our Irish listeners.
Sorry. Yep. Throw tomatoes. I deserve it. Sorry,
but
Amy's mom. I love you so much.
Yeah. No, it's just there's no way she's listening to this. So basically, because park run is a voluntary sort of like organization, they require people to volunteer every week to do various jobs, which is like mark the route, marshals to make sure people are following the right route and things like that. There's also like a group of people who follow the runners, and basically that's the end of the run essentially. Whenever they've come around, that's it over and done with.
They have a pace car. Sorry.
Kind of, yes. No, they kind of are. That's exactly right, yeah. And they're just to make sure everybody gets around safely, I suppose. But what I was doing was basically at the end of it, to get your time, once you cross the line, you're given a little barcode, and then you scan. You have your own barcode that is, for you, assigned to your name, and then they scan the barcode with your time on it essentially, and later on you'll get an email saying this is what your time was. So that's what I was doing for people. It was the first time kind of doing it. It was interesting being the other side of it, and it was nice. It was nice to kind of like, you know, because it has become, I guess, more important to me over the past wee while. I want to like do something to keep it going, you know. So it was nice to kind of be a part of that. So yeah, and the other thing I have done is went to see the drama. The drama.
Was it okay? I'm curious.
Okay.
I feel, well, I hear there's a twist, and I hear that some of the there was the Parkland shooting that happened in the United States, and one of the parents was very vocal about how he was upset that this movie showed itself a certain way in promotion, but then is a very different movie when you go to see it.
That
Much
I can
like The End of Us. Or This Ends With Us, or whatever. With
This Ends With Us. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I hear that movie's wild.
It's not.
No, it's
stupid. It's terrible.
It does kind of. Yes, I've heard that too. It does kind of. I'm not going to talk about the spoiler is because I think it's kind of interesting, and I think it is kind of surprising. I think that it like. It's riding this line between sensationalism and thoughtful examination of the subject. Mm-hmm. I think it mostly manages it. It you know, it has some really interesting things to say about, like, because essentially the twist is the drama, and it happens pretty quickly. You know, it happens within the first like 20 minutes or so of the movie, and there's the fallout from that. But I think it handles things in really kind of quite a thoughtful and interesting way. I think that the whole like the last 30 minutes or so is proper, like not car crash, but like you're watching everything unravel, and like in like, and you're just like, oh no. But it ends up having quite a sweet ending as well overall. So like I think a very interesting movie. I did enjoy it, I must say. Okay. And it's worth a watch.
It's the year of Zendaya, so I'm here for it. Yeah. We're all here for it.
We absolutely are. Hard to beat Zendaya, she's great. And reminder to everyone at home, watch Challengers if you haven't. She's fucking awesome in it.
I think they're doing promotion. She's so busy right now. It makes me tired. Zendaya, you're making me tired.
Yeah.
She's also like, 15 years younger than me or whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah. But she just, like, Euphoria 3 season, they're promoting that as of yesterday. So it's just like one thing after.
Is that, have you watched that show?
I did, yeah.
Is it worth watching?
I don't know if your heart could take it. It's like the whole time you feel like, I guess, like, this is how I felt when I saw the movie River Runs Through It, where I'm like, Brad Pitt's gonna die.
Sure.
And we'll have to do a rewatch of that one, because I remember seeing that, like, I think I was in like middle school or something, and I was like, he's so hot, but like you could tell like his the story arc, I could see it, and I was just waiting the whole time for him to die. That's how I feel when I watch Euphoria. Not that anybody dies, but you're just like so much bad. You're just like the buildup of bad things, and then they happen, and you're just like, you feel it so deeply. It's really, really good. Like Zendaya, I think, got 2 Emmys for her performance.
Yeah.
Like, she's never done any drugs. She doesn't drink, yet she plays like this drug addicted character so well. And I think, for whatever generation they're aiming for, it's interesting to get that take of what their like social currencies are. So from that person, like but then I think of you, and I'm like, you're so sweet and pure.
Yeah, but like at the same time, I do love like
it's
brutal drama, like tough dramas.
It's beautiful.
I like,
and you can do it in bits. So if you're looking for
no,
something,
I might.
I would absolutely watch it.
But because it does sound like, because I do like dramas that are like unflinching, looks at humanity. I think the respects of viewer to be like, we're not going to sugarcoat this. So, like, that does sound like my type of thing.
And the characters are amazing, and you fall in love with them all, and you hate the ones that, but they're so, you don't, and at certain points you're like, do I like this person or not now, based on, like, it's really well done. It's really well done.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, that's it for me this week. And do you have any what's occurring for us?
I do. So I'm gonna find this and repost it. So for those, we record the video of us talking and the audio. We're more audio than video. But we had and then I post shorts on like Instagram and Facebook and whatever. But someone noticed that the ones I posted last week, you're literally, okay, they said, just sitting there doing a skincare routine on camera. Like, it's his first ever podcast, eh? If he suddenly stood up, would he even have trousers on? And I do
have trousers on.
Well, you don't need to. Okay. They're flesh-colored trousers, Andy.
They are flesh-colored trousers, it's true. They're caramel colored trousers.
I rewatched it and I was like, he's totally doing a skincare routine. You're like putting all lotion on your face and your hands. And I'm like,
I have my moisturizer in my hand currently.
Because I'm looking down at the paper and reading the paper and I'm not looking at what you're doing. And like, I don't even know if I would notice, honestly, but
I was doing some of the editing of last week's episode earlier today, and there is one of the clips where we're talking about something, and I am fully moisturizing my hands as we're talking about it. But I don't care. I mean, like, it's like, it is, you know, for me, like, who loves a fidget spinner when I'm talking, it's kind of like a wee sort of comfort. It's kind of a good distraction for me, I think, in a way, you know, and I'm going to get, like, and I do have my tub of moisturizer in my hand, so, like, there's every possibility this is going to happen.
It might happen.
And, like, you know, because in my hand, because I touch my hands and they're a little.
Now you're like, oh, I don't know.
I need it. Yeah. Now I need to juice these babies up.
5-layer Korean hand skincare.
Exactly. You know, what else I'm gonna do?
Yeah.
Time is money, people.
I know.
Right?
I know. Or is it when you're doing our podcast? Let's make some money on our podcast. Someone needs to pay for Andy's lotions and skin treatments.
My beautiful soft skin needs lotions.
Okay, I have one more. This is regarding your, to back up to Megalopolis. So our top fan did a half watch and then the other half of the watch, because it's a long movie.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, you sick fuck. Watching Megalopolis.
That's right. So, second part, Andy called it Megalopolis does not get better. It's a tragic affair, really. As you can tell, there's a sincere ambition and vision there from an old master, and I respect the fact that he financed it himself. But again, we're talking about Francis Ford Coppola, but again, it seems decades out of time, and the deliberately heightened style of the performances in the film as a fable is a bold gamble, so I don't think it worked. Neither entertained, engaged, nor moved me on any human level. Sorry, Frankie baby. So,
It is kind like it just all feels so like aimless. You know, it feels like there's so much shit thrown at the wall with that movie, and like it just doesn't coalesce at all. It really doesn't. It just does not come together. There it feels like there is no kind of great plan or overarching plot that he's working on, as much as he just had all, you know, this excitable bunch of ideas that he wanted to put on screen, you know.
And I think for certain directors, like, they can get away with that.
Yeah.
Like Terry Gilliam and Terrence Malick, honestly. But I guess with Coppola, I don't know.
He has earned the right
to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Make a big pile of shit if he wants to. Like, and, you know, and I will, you know, so like, fair play to him. And like, I will tip my hat to anybody who takes a big bold swing like that. You know, it's like so much better than just the fucking, you know, shovel. You know, here's your entertainment product. You fucking just shoveled entertainment into your mouth that you get from a lot of like studios and filmmakers and things.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so he's 87.
Oh really?
Yeah. So it's like part of it. It's like now we're entering this time. I'm not going to say era because it's overused, but we're entering this time where so many of the grand masters, right, are.
Like old guys.
Yeah, I get it. They're like, I only have so much time and energy left, and I want to like say all the things that need to be said, and it makes me think about, when we can talk about this another time, but like, you know, my dad passed away from cancer, and he was working on a bunch of stuff, and I could sense, looking back at like emails and stuff, because I didn't know that he had cancer, that the urgency of like getting it all on paper, getting it all typed out was like, it was, you know, the most important thing. And so it's like, I get it, and it makes me like really sad. It makes me really sad, because you know, you want it to be good, and you know, you want to, but at the same time, it's entertainment art, and you want to feel the feelings, because that's what we're paying for.
And like, that is I think there's very few people who actually have those, you know, that skill set. Then like, it's a tough business.
It is.
Like, and it's tough to get those things. It's tough to get those things, you know, out the other side, you know. So yeah.
Okay, and then to bring up the energy a little bit, someone had posted, "This podcast has brought so much joy to the world. So thank you so much for this. It has brought light to the sadness and hate and fighting, and made so much laughing possible. Keep making them laugh, Beth and Andy. We love you." So,
we love you too. Thank you.
Whoever you are, we love you.
Yeah, we do.
That's what I have.
Amazing. Shall we get into our subject for this week?
Yes.
Beth, temper your enthusiasm a little bit if you could, please. All right, just calm down. I know you're raring at the bit to get into Thin Red Line, which is this week's movie.
Ugh, sorry.
So, this is the third Terrence Malick movie. Keep in mind, you're the one who pushed for this season.
I did, and I'm like,
right?
I'm like, we need to change everything around. We cannot. We can't do this to ourselves again. We need to throw a comedy in there somewhere.
We do, like, and you know, so maybe like, we're. I was gonna say maybe not do directors again, but I'm sure we will do directors again. But yeah, you know, somebody more with a broader range, I guess, of movie types in their catalog. Is that a sentence? Close enough to one. Okay, so Thin Red Line. It's the third in our Terrence Malick series. Pretty certain that like neither one of us have seen this before, but
I had tried maybe twice, based on my watch history. I like rented it. Really? It was like, you got this far before, and I was like, oh, okay. So I tried this already, and I didn't go.
This time you just had to grit your teeth and make your way all the way through.
I kind of did. It's fine. So I also like, I wanted to make sure I understood what the term "the Thin Red Line" meant, because I thought it was like firefighters, so I didn't quite understand what that had to do with World War II. So it's basically when a band of soldiers holds out against a larger force. No matter the color of their uniform, they might be referred to as a thin red line. So that's what that means.
Yes.
And it also has to do with firefighters. So I was not wrong there.
That makes sense. No, I was the same, and I know a little bit about Guadalcanal. Like, it was, I think they dealt with at least partially in the Pacific. You know, the miniseries. Jeez, that must be like 10, 15 years or so.
Was it like one of those like Ken Burns series?
No, it was. Do you know there was Band of Brothers?
Yes.
So it was like under that Spielberg umbrella. So like basically there was Band of Brothers was Army, the Pacific was the Marines.
Yes.
And then they did the Air Force One, the name of which I have forgotten currently, that I quite enjoyed, that only came out a few years ago as well.
Okay. They're documentary style movies?
No, they're dramas.
Okay. I don't think I haven't watched them. So.
Band of Brothers is really good. Like, it's really excellent.
Okay.
I have to say, it's thoroughly enjoying. It's one of the few things that I would rewatch every now and again, because it's just so well put together. But it's tough, you know. But it's very, 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 very good.
So basically, so what Andy was saying about Guadalcanal. So this takes place in World War II, and it's the outcome of the Battle of the Guadalcanal that will strongly influence the Japanese advance into the Pacific theater. So it's a group of soldiers, all young and hot, Mm-hmm. Some of them very famous, that are brought in as relief for the battle-weary Marines. The exhausting fight for a strategically positioned airfield that allows control over like a 1,000-mile radius puts the men of the Army Rifle Company C for Charlie through hell. The horrors of war form the soldiers into a tight-knit group. Their emotions develop into bonds of love and even family. The reasons for this war get further away as the world for the men gets smaller and smaller until their fighting is mere survival and the life of the other men with them.
I like it.
Yay!
Good description.
Yeah.
I like one small correction.
Please.
Nick Nolte is also in this movie.
Oh, right.
And he's not young and hot. He is old and hot.
He's old and hot. I will say...
He's looking good in this movie.
Prince of Tides, there was a hot Nick Nolte. Mm-hmm. And some people might fight me on that, but go do a rewatch.
It's true. It is like... I meant to check into this because I know that like famously there is an actor who was like, you know, cast in Thin Red Line, did a whole kind of sequence, and then was just basically he saw the film and it was completely cut. He just wasn't in the film at all.
There was like 3 of those dudes.
Was there? Okay, yeah.
And Adrian Brody was one of the actors, and like he was one of the lead actors with all the lines.
Yeah.
And in the end, he had like 4 lines or 3. It was yeah.
Insane.
I know.
Insane. No, it was. Like as I say, so you know, to be completely candid in terms of like the listeners at home, we did the two Terrence Malick movies back to back
in a week.
That were Thin Red Line,
yes.
and the one that's coming up next week,
yes.
And it was a lot of Malick for.
And I like
a week.
I love Malick, but it was a lot of Malick.
It was.
And
it was.
Yeah, I have not. Yeah, I had not seen. I think sometimes it's okay to be wrong, and that's what we're saying.
Well, that's true, but like I here's the thing. Having said that, like I, you know, think that like, you know, I had a bit of Malick skepticism, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this. And I think, you know, I saw Badlands. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that was excellent. Days of Heaven, it started to get a bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? It's just it didn't feel as coherent. It felt more kind of, you know, vibe based, and I can deal with that. Like that's fine, but like I think in terms of holding my attention, I struggled with Days of Heaven as it went on. So then, kind of going into this, knowing that it was nearly 3 hours long,
yeah,
I was filled with dread
because
I was like, oh no, and then I saw Tree of Life, again nearly 2.5 hours long. Oh boy. But I've got to say, considering that, I thought I enjoyed Thin Red Line a lot more than I expected. I feel I was expecting much more of just soldiers sitting around going, isn't war hell? You know, things like that. And there definitely is that. But, and you know, and like a lot of just people like, you know, philosophies on life and everything. And again, there definitely is some of that too. Mm-hmm. But it's actually a bit more, there is a plot as such, and there is a kind of like, there are some action scenes, there's like a bit of like, you know, like some really kind of like, you know, big sequences, you know, which I was just not expecting. I was expecting to be really kind of small and intimate, and like the actual sort of, you know, fighting side of things was going to be much more of a backdrop, you know, so it was kind of like pleasantly surprised in that regard.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think too, it's like, you know, we're watching this director, you're starting to get a sense of like, okay, this is kind of their thing. This is, you know,
yeah.
the narration aspect is, you know, a theme through all of the movies. This one didn't have any, you know, women narrators, but like, I just wrote, like, one of my first notes was, what if we talked like Terrence Malick scripts in real life?
You'd probably be like institutionalized.
Yeah. I
mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but you might be.
Uh-huh. And also, like, he writes all these scripts, and then, because I look through, there's this one website, it's like a cinephile website for Terrence Malick, and they have, for educational purposes only, like, all of the original scripts. You can see where he's like handwritten and changed things. And like half of what, like, I don't know, 2/3, 3/4, 7/8, like he just cuts it all. And then he's like, here's a picture of, you know, a river.
Here's a tree.
Yeah. Which I'm okay with too. I love trees and, you know, nature.
Yeah, I mean, like I get him and his cinematographer, or whether that is him. You know, it's like they do incredible work.
Yes.
Like it's beautiful. Like some of those staggeringly beautiful, like, you know, scenes I've seen in any movies ever. And that's consistent across all these movies that we've watched so far.
Agreed. I like, to the point where I was almost like, do we need to add like a cinematographer category to like our not that we have a script, we totally have a script that we follow, sort of.
Yeah, it sounds like it, right? Yeah.
But the cinematography makes, like, these movies would not be anything without, you know, the cinematographers that he uses.
Agree.
Whether or not they get along in real life, that's to be talked about. Anyways.
Okay. So Beth, just a quick question. Are you sitting down? Okay, right. So a big piece of news for you. So this movie, right?
Who? I need to know.
This is going to blow you away. Directed by Terrence Malick.
What?
Okay. You right?
Again?
Right? I'm glad you're...
This man.
Again. I had it right. He just keeps pumping.
How much time did he have to make this movie?
One every 20 years, apparently. So, you know, Terrence Malick had been away from the movie industry for 20 years before he came back to make The Thin Red Line. I did do a little because I'm curious about where he is at the time when these films are being made. And it's interesting because, you know, a lot of people remark about this because he was such a kind of rising star, but he wasn't like a commercial director necessarily either. So it seems like, although he maybe would have liked to have made some more movies, Hollywood kind of changed a lot after Days of Heaven, and that was also like a production that was kind of quite troubled and like took a long time. So like he maybe didn't have movie studios like knocking down the door trying to work with him. But he did continue to do other work. He did some script doctor work. He worked in scripts and things like that. The Thin Red Line itself was in development for a long time. But his return was driven by a deep personal philosophical connection to the story's themes of nature, war, and spirituality. So like this was a long time in the making for him, and I think he was more than like consciously deciding to leave Hollywood for 20 years. He was kind of waiting for the right time and the right project to come along, and that's what this movie was for him.
So he is 82. Oh. So this came out in
88, 89. I think 88 for you guys, 89 for us. Or sorry, 98 for you guys, 99 for us.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Okay. He was going through a divorce right around then.
Oh.
So that might have influenced some of his.
That's why there's no female narrator.
Probably.
He was like, I'm done. I'm done with women.
Okay. Well, I have some information for you that might be shocking. Also,
I bet you do. Okay.
Get your hand cream ready, or your face lotion. Guess who wrote the story?
I couldn't possibly.
Terrence Malick.
What?
I know. So
I'm gonna
look down and read my paper, and you.
I'm gonna juice up my hands with shock at what I just learned.
Okay, so basically, someone else had this idea. So this is the book. This is a book called The Thin Red Line by James Jones. So there's a New York-based producer, Bobby Gessler. He first approached Malick in 1978 and was like, will you work on... This is a really long and boring story, you guys. Sorry. He was like, will you work on a film adaptation, like we were saying, script doctoring for In the Boom Boom Room? He said, Malick said no, but then he was like, what if we take a look at the life of Joseph Merrick, who, I don't know if anyone remembers, Joseph Merrick was the Elephant Man. But then they found out that David Lynch was working on that instead. So he was like, well, shit. So then in 1988, Gessler and John Roberdeau met with Malick in Paris about writing and directing a movie based on D.M. Thomas's novel The White Hotel. Malick was like, no, but he was like, maybe I'll do like Tartuffe, which is a very famous play, or Jim Jones's The Thin Red Line. Like, if you could think of two very opposite things, it would be those two. And they were like, cool, let's do The Thin Red Line. We'll pay you $250,000 to write the screenplay. And he was like, all right. So then, basically, like, yeah, I went into a little bit more about the Guadalcanal story. It's just, trying to make sure that they had access to places to be able to launch weapons in Japan.
Yes.
So anyways, you'll be happy to hear that the script started at 300 pages.
Wow.
Yeah.
A neat and tidy 300 pages.
Yeah, so as typically each page is about a minute. So that gives you an idea. So quote from the I'm sorry. Like
Terrence Malick got it stripped down to a tidy 3 pages by the end of it. Yeah.
So quote from the producer, one of the producers: Malick's Guadalcanal would be a paradise lost, an Eden raped by the green poison, as Terry used to call it, of war. Other people call him Terry, so I can too. Much of the violence was to be portrayed indirectly. A soldier is shot, but rather than showing a Spielbergian bloody face, we see a tree explode, the shredded vegetation, and a gorgeous bird with a broken wing flying out of a tree. So I think just the way he approached what you see and is different than other war films. The end.
It feels like remarkably distinct compared to any other war film I've seen, Agreed. Like and I have to give him credit for that, because I feel like there is a template, like, don't get me wrong, there's a gamut of war movies out there. It's such a popular topic, but there is a certain like gung-ho element to a lot of them, even the ones that are about, the horrors of war and things like that. There is a certain, I don't know, thrill in the kind of violence of it in a way that
and like
there really isn't here.
No, people compare this to Saving Private Ryan.
They're radically different.
They
films.
Are so different, and I think Malick is looking at it like most war films. Talk about the horrors of war and how terrible war is, and the human casualty, the emotional casualties. But this was like, it's about, I felt like it was more about the beautiful things.
Yep.
And about that war destroys.
Yeah.
So, and not just
I think
based on human, like the humans aspect. It's like, no, like look beyond that. Like, I agreed. Yeah, that's so true. Because, like, obviously nature is such a big motif in his films and things like that. So it makes sense that it would, we see nature, we see animal creatures as well. Yeah, that's interesting. It does make a ton of sense. I don't know what I thought I had there. It's completely gone. My brain is blank. You can talk about music.
It'll come back to me. Let's talk about music. I'll see if it comes back to me. So, the composer was Hans Zimmer, who
no
we've talked about before. Right? Well, that's slightly more of a surprise. If I'd said, what it would have been surprising if I'd said the composer was Terrence Malick. Then you'd have been surprised, right? So we've talked about him before. We have touched on Hans Zimmer before. Probably one of the most important composers, certainly in modern film history. He has done a ton of stuff. So he did this soundtrack with his composing partner John Powell. It was actually nominated for an Oscar. Did not win, unfortunately, but it is seen as kind of one of his most important works. If you don't know Hans Zimmer, it's worth kind of looking into that. He has almost certainly scored a film that you love, because he has done so much work. He is so popular that we've talked about this before, that he tours with an orchestra just performing his works of music. So yeah,
he's like a rock
an incredible
star
composer.
And also
he
a
is.
composer.
Yeah, he is. He's the best. So yeah, so and I thought it was a really good and really effective piece of music, or the greater sort of piece of composition, I should say, rather than a piece of music.
Yeah, I'm gonna become a Hans Zimmer follower. No, but in my van with my dog named Bandit, and not follow that, just follow Hans Zimmer around.
I really like that as an idea. But you're wearing tuxes all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were a lot of famous people in this movie, largely because I feel bad. All of these, it's just that eternal question I have of how do some movies get funded and other ones don't? So he was trying to get the studios to fund this movie, and they were like, I don't know. Everyone is clamoring as all of these actors are clamoring to be in this movie. And finally the studios, once he attached enough super famous people, they were like, all right, you can have money and you can make your movie. So Sean Penn, Adrian Brody, Jim, I don't want to mispronounce his last name. Caviezel. George Clooney, John Cusack, Woody Harrelson, Nick Nolte, John C. Reilly, John Travolta, and then there were a bunch of newer actors. But yeah, quite a cast.
Incredible cast, truly. It's interesting, that probably the two main guys in it, or the two sort of main guys of the movie, are Jim Caviezel and Ben Chaplin, who are not. Jim Caviezel has had an interesting career.
Largely influenced by this movie, actually.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. And Ben Chaplin is an English actor who I think was kind of more famous for TV over here and things like that, but never really kind of became a massive star.
No, I see him. Yeah, no. Oh yeah,
no. Because he's the guy who's the storyline with the wife at home and things like that, and that sort of the flashbacks of their kind of love story is a fairly big component of the film. Look at noisy.
I love it. I got to see
noise.
Sasha before we started recording. Okay, so. Okay. I stole this from Reddit, but some people can say things in ways that I can't, because I was like, okay, well, what are common themes from other movies? So this person on Reddit said the quiet scenes, men walking through a stunning jungle of indifferent creatures, were particularly transformative. They placed the human melodrama in the context of an ecosystem, in the context of the indifference of that big, strange, and dangerous world. These scenes deflated the self-importance of the human melodrama of war and questioned the importance of our tribal allegiances. I cried over Wit because I see the idealist version of myself in that character, and it's scary because you can still end up dead under all that virtue.
Yeah,
and I was like, yes, that's what I meant to say when I wrote my paragraph. And this guy's or lady's was better.
Yeah. That's I like it a lot. That's a good, and it has been interesting because as we have been doing this, I have been looking more into Terrence Malick and the reactions towards him and the critical thoughts on him and things like that, and I feel like there are, for some people, this film and this portrayal is, they love it. They think it's incredible. I have a good friend, and I told him we were covering this because he loves this movie in particular and loves Terrence Malick, and I totally get it. I totally get why this could be your vibe, and this portrayal of not just war. I mean, in the case of this film, obviously that is a big part of it, but like, you know, the greater impacts it has, and also life and human relationships, and like we said, nature and spirituality and things like that. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting.
I gotta be honest, like, because I knew he's a smarty pants, Malick, you know, I was waiting for him to get more into his philosophical background, and he really, like, he did that in this, and he did that in the next movie that we are going to watch, already watched.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, but it is interesting that, you know, it's just that, I'm not to like keep talking about the same concept, but just that idea that, you know, whether or not war is happening, like, the Earth is still a breathing thing. It's still going to be here long after we are, right? And he really did a good job of honing in on that, and you know, the Wit character, you know, was so lovable, and you know, you wanted them all to be okay, and you wanted virtue and ideals to put a protective bubble over him, and it's just kind of like, that's the reality, not just of war but of life, right? It's a tragedy is everywhere, around every corner, and yeah, I mean, and then it's how you deal with that.
It's true. Yeah.
Or not, or avoid it.
Yeah, when you're confronted with it. Yeah, absolutely.
So, like me. Master of avoidance.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love it. Okay. So like, I think, you know, a few things I kind of noticed whenever I was like watching it, and I'm seeing a lot of this is kind of like, there's a lot of like father and son. The father and son motif is strong in, certainly in this and in our next movie, but you know, there's so much of that. I mean, it's something that I really kind of hate in real life, where, you know, you're involved in something. It's like, we're a big family here, and it's like, no, we're not.
Yeah. We're being forced into a situation.
Yeah, it's like a family where you're the one who's paying me. It's not how it works. Yeah. It's a way to like manipulate me into doing something I don't want to do. Yeah. I thought that there's an earnestness to this film that, you know, it didn't feel subtle at all in terms of its messaging, and I don't hate that. I think there's a place for that. I think it's tough to do, but I really kind of found it really kind of hammered its message home whenever it did take the time to really kind of like, you know, spend some time trying to like work out what that was. But again, you know, because I had low expectations in terms of the length, in terms of what this was, in terms of what I'd heard about it. Like I've you know, it has, again, I have friends who love it, but I also have friends, it has become like, you know, the butt of the joke in a lot of ways, and it really kind of exceeded my expectations a lot in that regard.
That it was better than the butt of the joke?
Yes, much better than that, I think.
I loved the juxtaposition of the so at the beginning he's gone AWOL, and he's living in a Pacific island with, and just be, you know, you're going from like this really symbiotic culture. He's like the happiest he's ever been. Everything makes sense, you know. I remember, like, you know, him talking to a mother and a child, and, you know, and then he turns around and like there's two men and they're like walking and they're holding hands, and I'm just like, the love is so apparent in this very different world, very different culture. And then, you know, the boat comes, they're like, there you are, back to war. And I you know, also, so I just loved seeing that in comparison to, you know, then where they ended up going.
Yes. I think I think what's interesting to me is that you can see that that's where he wants to be. Yes. Like, you know, in terms of like, that's he wants to tell these like sort of little moments, show these little moments, because once the kind of story kicks in and he's trying to get Whit's character back involved, you know, back into the war, it just feels more forced. It doesn't feel as natural as I maybe should, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, what he wants to do is just really kind of show you emotion, I guess, and like we say, show you like, you know, beauty and, you know, how we affect it, I guess.
Yeah. And also, you know, I know that some of the narration and the thoughts that these men are feeling, you know, they could sound or be like, you could take them as being trite, but like, what the fuck are people thinking in wartime, right? How do you make sense of all of these? Because you have to, you're faced with the possibility of death. Is God around, right? Like, how do you make sense of peace, and how do you make sense of how can this culture over here on this Pacific island be so peaceful, and yet over here, like, we're fighting and doing all these terrible things, and all these terrible things are being done. Like, I don't know how, you know, and just watching them and hearing them trying to still, you know, have that inner whatever, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like, how do you have an inner core of knowing that what you're doing is what you should be doing? Like, it's just, I can't imagine.
Yes.
And
it's
so I think he did a good job of having them say things and ask questions as they're going through the process that people probably actually do in real life.
Yes, it's true. It's very true. And it definitely a very different angle on, you know, war, I think, in that way as well.
It was definitely not
like
hoorah, right? It was like,
not at all. I recently watched Gallipoli for the first time.
What is it?
Gallipoli.
Gallipoli.
So basically it is a kind of, you know, disastrous sort of campaign that was part of the First World War. But basically it's about, the first half of the film is basically the build-up. It's these two sprinters in Australia who, like, one of whom is Mel Gibson, who, like, hear about World War One, think they should take part in it, but it's just, you know, it's before, because I think World War One was such a turning point in terms of people going, oh, war is hell. The amount of people that died in that war compared to like other wars was just staggering. So they're like thinking they're going on this grand adventure, and even when they get there for training, they're all like, yay, woohoo, and then like it gets to the reality of it, and it's just like, oh no, this is an absolute fucking nightmare. Literally. This is people dying for nothing, you know. So yeah, very, and I think this also, I think, portrayed that really well. I think, you know, that sort of like, you know, the emptiness of this, you know, it's all dressed up in, we're working together as a team, we're a family, you know, you're doing this for your country, but like, you know, ultimately it's just, you know, lives being lost, you know, for what? For what? Yeah. You know.
On both sides. You know,
yep. On both sides.
Okay.
Do you have...
So yeah, I got some. So okay. Mm-hmm. So in the last movie that we watched, which was Days of Heaven, they filmed most of the movie during the magic 25 minutes, not hour, 25 minutes. That's how long that actually lasts. So with this movie, Terrence decided not to wait for ideal lighting conditions. Okay, this might make your head explode. Mm-hmm. So he would shoot the same scene 3 times when it was overcast, in bright sunlight, and in ideal light. This way, he had all conditions covered. When it came time to edit, he would decide which was the best lighting for a specific sequence and use the scene shot in that particular light.
That must be absolutely miserable for his his actors, his production team, all of the above. Wow. I mean, fair play. It does look good, great, but yeah, wow.
So editor Leslie Jones was on location for 5 months and rarely saw Terrence Malick, who left her to earn her own devices. After principal photography wrapped, she came back with a 5-hour first cut and spent 7 months editing it. 5 hours, Andy. Sorry.
Wow.
It was at this point that editor Billy Weber came on board, and they spent 13 months in post-production and the last 4 months mixing the film. So yeah.
Seems like a hallmark of Terrence Malick's work. It's like the amount of post-production is insane.
There's a reason it takes 5 years for a movie to come out.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into when we watch the next movie. Anyways, Malick edited the footage one reel at a time with the sound off while listening to, and I'm going to give you a chance to guess which band he would listen to while he would.
Geez, what would he listen to? It must be some ludicrous that you just would really surprise me. So I'm gonna guess Aerosmith.
Close, sort of, not at all, but yeah, he was listening to Green Day.
Wow. Okay. Not a million miles away. All right. Yeah. I'm happy with that.
Good job. Okay, so there was a.
That's a fascinating. It's a fascinating choice for somebody like
I know.
Terrence Malick to listen to. Wow.
I love that too. So if anyone has these Malick facts, just send them our way, and I will continue to read. So producers Robert Gessler and John Roberdeau, who I mentioned earlier, they actually had a falling out with Terrence Malick during pre-production. By the time they were filming, their relationship has so deteriorated that Malick barred them from visiting the set at all. And then they were feuding, and they said that they would attend the Oscar ceremony. He said if they were going to attend, he would stay home. None of them attended the Oscars, and the movie won no awards. That's how bad it got.
Insane.
I know. So it's like,
Insane.
it's just so interesting. It's like some people are like, I need to work with you, and other people are like, I hate you so much.
Yeah.
After reading the script, when Sean Penn met with Terrence Malick, he told him, give me $1 and tell me where to show up.
This seems like some real Sean Penn shit.
Yeah.
Like, it really does.
Yeah.
This is exactly the sort of stuff he seems to enjoy. So yeah. I mean, obviously he comes back as well, like in more of his films.
Yes, sort of, but yes.
Sort of.
Okay. That I'm not going to worry about. Okay, so over 20 years later, after the film was released, Viggo Mortensen was surprised to discover that he was thanked in the credits. He had been approached by Terrence Malick for a role in the film, and the two had long conversations about the story and the characters. Viggo wound up having to decline the role due to a conflict of filming A Walk on the Moon in 1999, but he was like 20 years later be like, oh my god, I'm in the credits. And Terrence was like, that was a really good conversation. You deserve to be in the credits. Like, that's the kind of guy he is. He's like, if you come to the Oscars, I'm not going, but you deserve to be. I'm so fascinated by eccentric humans, and he seems to
absolutely.
Be one. So yeah, those are the facts
Amazing.
I have.
Amazing, love it. They're great. Okay, so shall we get into our final few wee sections here? First off, this is a tough one, but too legit to fit this week, because like everybody's wearing goddamn army uniforms, but there's only one person who was wearing the shit out of the army uniform, and that was George Clooney.
Oh, yes. Who was in it for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. But like hot as shit when he was doing it. So like, you know.
He could just...
He gets it. I think, this has been like a feast for me in terms of like Andy's Animal Acting Award, because Terrence Malick loves filming animals, but like I think this week it has to go to the crocodiles. There was some great crocodile work in this movie. Both them swimming and also like, I was gonna say chilling, not really, kind of being captured.
Yeah.
But yeah. Great.
Yep.
They're such like intense looking animals, so it was very it just like really really good crocodile work. Crikey. So Beth, in terms of Tree of Life, would you revisit, remember, no, wait. In terms of The Thin Red Line, would you revisit, remember, refuse, or redo?
I would say remember.
Yeah. I think that here's what's blowing my mind. I think I might rewatch this film, and that's crazy to me.
No, okay. That's okay. Yeah, I don't think I feel like the story seemed light to me.
Yes.
But the cinematography makes up for it.
Yes. I think it had more bite to it than I was expecting. Like, especially the way Days of Heaven was going. I was like, this is going to be some wistful nonsense. This is just going to be thoughts tied together into like a 3-hour bundle. But it felt like it had more of a through line, much more of a through line than I was expecting. And like a kind of an A to B that I was not expecting either. Yeah. So I think just because my expectations for plot and things like that were so low, it kind of really delivered for me in a big way. So yeah. So like I think ultimately I'm probably remember, but like a real positive remember. I think it's worth. I don't know if it's worth. I don't think I'm going to tell anybody to sit through a 3-hour movie, but a lot better than I expected, and I overall quite enjoyed it. I think, but 3 hours, 3 hours.
I think like, I mean, with the story and based on a book, it could have been any war, anytime, anywhere, I felt.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't big, and I know it was, based on something, but it could have been any, it didn't feel like it was that specific place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, if you're expecting a true war film, like, this is not it, right? This is the opposite of what, this isn't like Schindler's List or Saving Private Ryan or what's the other one with Meg Ryan?
Absolutely not.
Where she's like, Black Hawk Down, right? This is not. This is not.
I think that Meg Ryan was your touch point for Black Hawk Down. Wow. Interesting. She's in it. She's in there. She's
like
in there.
a lot, and she plays herself in like many different
ways.
Yeah. I thought it was a good. Anyways, I'm not gonna end there, but I could see myself in like 10 years revisiting it though, and probably having, maybe it deserves like an every 10-year relook, because I'll be like 400 years old then, and I'll have more wisdom. So
exactly, and more time probably as well. Let's hope we'll have lots of time to just watch things.
5 hours to kill. What do I do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Beth, what has been bringing you joy this week?
I was sad last week. I had the sads for no reason at all. But I've come around. So we had Easter. It was like the best Easter we've had ever, I think. I don't know why, but it was just easy. The kids were stoked. The Easter Bunny came. We went to the safari park. I love candy so much. So yeah, like I think candy and just like hanging out with the kids and spending time with them brought me joy. And I took the kids to a yoga class, and it was just the 3 of us and me, and like I got into some of the poses, and I was like super proud of crow pose, dude, is so hard for me. You know this.
It is.
I can't do it. But I got into it for like 4 seconds and then like fell over, and then both kids just like jumped on top of me like pile of puppies, and my yoga teacher was like laughing, and I was just, moment of joy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
How about you?
It's good. It's good shite. So like I really
struggle
to like.
Shite.
What?
Yeah.
No, I really struggle to music wise. I really struggle to like dial into one thing in particular, because I'm like listening to all sorts of different things.
This is true.
But somebody recommended
you just like driving with you.
Yeah.
It's like it's there's no rhyme or reason or theme. There's no like let's listen to. It's like it's like Whiplash.
It is. It's like the whole gamut of musical spectrum. Anything that sounds good to me. Yeah. But like I was playing it recently with a group of friends. They're like, "This is a good soundtrack," and I'm like, "It's just 48 hours of music
that
so
I like."
that I like, that has just come together into a good soundtrack because I put it in random, Anyway, somebody recommended Hermanos Gutierrez to me recently, and it feels like this is a band that I've been about for quite a few years now. I'm only really kind of hearing them for the first time, and they're like an instrumental 2-piece. I tend to like music with lyrics, but I've been really enjoying it. I've put a few of their tracks into like yoga playlists and things like that. It's just such a kind of like chill kind of vibe. I think it might be, you know, some people are going to hear this and going to go, oh, that's some basic bitch shit, but I am a basic bitch, so it's
you
fine.
Really are.
But like,
Charlie
so like, oh hell yeah, I love like all of them. Dua Lipa, yeah, exactly, Chaperone, all of them.
You keep
really
me
good
up with my children, so it's good.
Hell yeah. But like, I think in particular there's a song called Low Sun of theirs that I really recommend. It's a nice time.
Okay. It's a nice time.
So it is a nice time. It's a lovely time. Not all of my music's a nice time, but it is a nice time. Okay, so Beth, can you tell everybody where they can find us and things like that?
Yes, I can. We have a new website. It's called, I was able to actually find you guys, movietestofTime.com.
Hell yeah.
So we're there. I've rebranded it all. So now we've got sort of edited down 29 episodes already. So yeah, you can find us there. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on TikTok. Please look for Andy's video of him putting lotion on his face. And I
mean, there's a lot of those.
There's
videos,
a lot of those, and then there's going to be more. There's going to be more.
Yeah.
Don't worry, folks.
It's not always on my face. Sometimes on my hands. Yeah. Sometimes I'm just putting lip balm on, so you can make like a drinking game out of it.
It's true. You're very busy. Also, if you've got movies that you would like us to do a rewatch with you, especially comedies right now, because I'm Andy and I are both like, kind of we've done this to ourselves, but we could use.
But you know, we've got some fun ideas for this summer, which should be a very, very different vibe than this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So for those of you who want to watch along, we've already mentioned it, but we're watching The Tree of Life next week. So if you want to check that out first, please do. But yeah. So in that case, we've reached the end of this week's episode, and yeah,
that's it.
It was lovely. It was lovely chatting with you.
You too.
And
I'll see you in 5 minutes for our next recording.
Shh! Don't ruin the podcast magic.
The idea,
goodbye, everyone.
Right. Like, we love you.
We love you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.